An all-out preview of Game 6 of the PBA Governors Cup Finals is who else? Basketball analyst Juan Banal. Juan B, good morning.
Good morning, Andre. Is this my last day, or will I show up again if this extends?
It's all up to Meralco. But that was my first question intendedly for you. Last day mo na ba ngayon, or babalik ka ba on Friday before Game 7? Well, Juan B, Ginebra scoring back-to-back wins for the first time in this series. Actually, first time a team has won back-to-back games in this series. Perfect timing for them, for Ginebra, since it put them one win away from reclaiming the Governors Cup crown. And iniisip ng mga fans, parang hindi na naman nanalo yata Meralco talaga dito sa Ginebra. In your eyes, though, Juan Banal, what went right for the Gin Kings in Games 4 and 5, and how did they get those back-to-back wins to just be one win away from winning it all again tonight?
Well, we spoke about, Andre, this being the battle of the minds, right? Like it's a chess match between Coach Norman Black and Coach Tim Cone. And we knew that the series would be, what we expected it to be if it's going to be an alternating victory, right? Because the other team will adjust. And that's what series are all about. It's a game. It's going to be a game of an adjustment. And right now, he never was able to address. We talked about how Meralco is going to win this series and how they have been winning their games. It's because of their bench scoring. It's them staying healthy and being able to limit the scoring output of Ginebra, especially from the outside. And that's exactly what Ginebra solved in Game 4s and 5. It's the first time that Ginebra was able to score 95 points and 110 in the series for Game 5. And so just the potency of their ability to score came out. Ginebra shot in terms of three-point shooting. Game 4, they were 12 out of 31. Game 5, they were 16 out of 34. That's 38% and 47% in total. For Games 4 and 5, Ginebra almost doubled the three-point shots made of Meralco. They shot 28 over 65. That's 43% from the outside compared to the 17 made of Meralco in Games 4 and 5. And obviously, not to mention how they were able to address the bench scoring. They limited the bench run. They actually won for the first time in this series in Game 5.
Game 5, yeah.
Ginebra 17 versus Meralco's 14. And we said, dyan namumuhunan ng Meralco. It's their second unit that is supposed to pick up the slack, right?
Yeah.
And then second chance points also, their ability to get more possessions, offensive rebounds, and turn it into goal. But in Game 5, Ginebra had 17. Meralco had only 15. So it's the first time that Ginebra won both categories in Game 5, and that's why they were able to turn the tide, which we expected Meralco to actually win if we follow the trend.
Well, I like your points there. Tama ka dun sa bench scoring ng Game 5. Ginebra outscoring the bench of Meralco in that particular game. Well, Scotty Thompson and Justin Brownlee living up to their individual awards during these two games. Scotty named Best Player of the Conference before Game 4. Congratulations to him. Tapos si Justin naman, Best Import for the first time for Justin sa Governors Cup. Kasi nanalo na siya dun sa Commissioner's Cup as a Best Import. And since that awarding ceremony, these two guys, Brownlee and Thompson, have proven why they won those awards deservingly. Let's talk about the performances and focus first on these two particular players in Games 4 and 5, specifically with Scotty Thompson. One, grabe, he's just doing everything here. Scotty electrifying the crowd, his teammates. If we take a look at his numbers right now, what impresses you most about Scotty Thompson, especially here in this series?
I think Scotty is the dream player for any coach at this point. Take a look at his numbers in Games 4 and 5. What do you notice? In Game 4, he needed to score.
Yeah.
He needed to be the focus of the offense because the rest were struggling, and he did just that. 27 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 40 minutes. Game 5, they needed him to facilitate. And I like the adjustment of Coach Tim Cone when they converted Scotty to play more of the point to facilitate the team and convert LA to more of an off-ball player, right? He would move without the ball. He doesn't have to get tired. You're going to reserve his legs for the fourth quarter by him not bringing down the ball. And that's the role that Scotty kind of grew up into in this conference. You know, he just kind of embraced that role. And for me, this outside shot that he made, he was saying, oh, it was luck. Coach Tim said he's been working hard. I think it's all about confidence. You know, the more that Scotty has the ball, you feel the flow. And his ability to make that decision to say, I'm going to take this big shot. And it's, I think, the maturity that he has grown into that role in Ginebra that allowed him to make this shot. Basketball is a game of confidence. Madami nga tayo nakikita na hindi naman shooters, pero sa sobrang kumpiyansa, nagiging shooter. But for Scotty, it's the maturity to know when to take the shots, and the shots that have to be taken at the right time. And that's why that three went in. It's all about flow. It's all about confidence. And he has embraced that role that Coach Tim has given him for Ginebra.
Look at him go. Just out-rebounding Tony Bishop, driving to the lane, taking that big three when needed. Scotty, nauubusan na ako ng words to describe him. And this guy, eto si Justin Brownlee, I think wala na talaga akong maisip. Even when I talk to, Ginebra fans, ano pang masasabi mo kay Brownlee? Malakas, solid, monster, sakalam, do it all. Ito naman mga numbers si Justin Brownlee. Grabe tong import na to, no? 44 minutes in both games 4 and 5. And look at his numbers, 1B. Talk about Justin Brownlee now.
Well, his worst game was scoring 19 points in game 3, right? He shot 1 out of 10 from the 3, and he bounced back. And I think that's the asset of a Justin Brownlee. We know his capabilities. I think the Governors Cup and him winning this is a long time coming. He owns this conference as an import, and he is the benchmark. Like every team, if they're looking and scouting for an import for this conference, they look at Justin Brownlee and say he is the benchmark. And for him to win this is just an icing on the cake. But really, his ability to have that level of maturity, I mean, he's playing with really younger guys than him, right?
Yes.
And being that role model that there will be bad games, there will be off games, but we're talking about a series. And for you to bounce back, that just gives confidence, I think, to the rest of the guys. Arvin Tolentino is a beneficiary of that confidence, right? He didn't play so well, but then playing around this guy, he makes everyone look better. And he's very quiet. He just does his own thing. And I think that's why people who want to hate him can't seem to hate him, because he's just an all-around guy, and his ability to play. And, I mean, he just compliments Scotty. Both of them, they deserve the awards because they played the roles that they needed to play that was needed by the team.
And he's such a nice guy, too. Like,
right.
the way you see him on the floor is so intense, but just
so humble.
Yeah, so humble, always smiling all the time off the floor. Just really a great import for Ginebra. He will go down as one of those legends like years to come. Naalala niyo yung Brownlee, sobrang bait pero sobrang galing. In Game 5, let's talk about the X factor for Ginebrans, Arvin Tolentino. He started and he had 16 points, 4 of 9 from downtown. Here are his numbers, huge numbers from Arvin Tolentino. So early in his career in the PBA, delivering at a big stage like this. He also grabbed 4 boards. Sama mo pa yung 3 big steals. Gaano kalaki to for Ginebra if Arvin Tolentino continues to play this way? His confidence is at an all-time high. You could see it in his body language, the way he lets that ball fly. What makes Arvin Tolentino so important, especially heading into this close-out Game 6?
I would have to say there were a lot of intangibles. And I did mention a while ago that Justin Brownlee might be one, Scotty Thompson might be one. Nards Pinto's interview with you yesterday, he spoke about the mentality and the demeanor of the players in Ginebra. It's not about who played well, but did we win, and just having to put aside that ego and how they can contribute. And there will be off nights. Arvin Tolentino was a revelation in the bubble for us. He did play well for Ginebra, in the playoffs also during the bubble, right? And now it's coming out again. There's usually a slump after your rookie year, but Arvin Tolentino and Guest just feeding off the confidence of from the rest of the guys. And shooting threes has a lot to do with confidence. Taking those shots. And Arvin Tolentino, his ability to shoot from the outside is his major asset at this point. They need shooters. They need to open up the floor so that Scotty and Justin Brownlee can drive to the lane. And Arvin adds that factor, the same as Jeff Chan in LA
Yeah.
making that added arsenal with Arvin Tolentino making it from the outside now creates another problem for Meralco instead of just zeroing or locking in on just a couple of shooters.
Importante din, alam na alam niya yung role niya dito. He's a perfect 3-and-D guy
Yeah.
for Coach Tim Cone and Ginebra. 3 steals, 5 of 10 nga from the field. And I remember that game, quickly lang seeing it ko before that game, bakit nag-start yung Arvin? May nagtanong sa akin. Sabi ko, that's the reason why. When he's getting all those threes, knocking them down and playing great defense on the other end, that's the reason Coach Tim put so much confidence on that young guy, Arvin Tolentino.
And the tricky part about that, Andre, is the fact that Arvin is a big guy, so tendency is for a big guy to defend him also. And the habit of big guys is if somebody drives to the basket, your tendency is to automatically help out on defense. And that leaves Arvin Tolentino open, and he knows how to pick and find his spots. And, he just reminds you of a Joe DeVance, right? Coach Tim had a Joe DeVance like this before, and he was his X factor. And now it's Arvin Tolentino who's stepping up to the plate.
Well, good for Arvin. Well, Ginebra did have to survive some scares though in Game 5. Actually, naibaba pa ng Meralco to just 1 point yung kalamangan in the fourth quarter. At that point, I knew that Meralco would make a run at some point in the game.
Yeah.
And that was from as high as 14 points. Yung lead ng Ginebra went down to 1. I was like, okay, here's Meralco's turn to come back in this game. What adjustments do you expect to see from Barangay Ginebra here in Game 6? Kumaga, ano ba yung mga kailangan nilang ayusin to close out this series tonight and finally not give, because Meralco's going to come back at some point, but to not give them so much life that they can win and then extend the series. What should Ginebra do to finally, let's finish this, let's win another Governors Cup title?
And I think they have to ride on the wave of their success in games 4 and 5 and double down on that. Obviously, I think they're not going to be expecting Arvin to still be, this hot, So that means they need to get that kind of help. We know that Coach Tim has a 9 to 8 man rotation.
Yeah.
But there might be, and he's known for a magic bunot. So I'm not so sure if Prince Caperal will be that guy again, but he did that for Ginebra before. He did play that role. And it's not just Prince's presence in the shaded area, but his ability to shoot from the outside. So I think it's still going to be their outside shooting that will get them over the hump, because Meralco's just relentless. And every time you put out that fire by making outside shots, it just kind of deflates the confidence in the runs of Meralco. So big shots from the outside will still be the key for Ginebra, and keep the game high.
Well, Juan B, stay where you are. We will continue this all-out discussion after a quick break. We'll have with us today basketball analyst Juan Banal, and Juan and I have been having that all-out preview of Game 6 of the PBA Governors Cup Finals, and that crucial game will tip off tonight still at the Big Dome, the Smart Aeronaut Coliseum. We were done talking about Barangay Ginebra earlier. Now let's move on to Meralco. Juan B, what went wrong for the Bolts in Games 4 and 5? What do they need to address heading into Game 6 if they want to survive the series, extend to a Game 7?
Well, I think they needed, the areas that they needed to be good at was something that we didn't see. It's either Ginebra was able to solve that problem, or Meralco just didn't. They were struggling to bring those that high level of competition to match up against Ginebra, and the ability for them to adjust in game. But it also, I think, will have a lot to do with Tony Bishop's slow start. He didn't play so well in the first half, but he did score the rest of his baskets in the second half. But I think it was too late. But getting help from the other guys, Alain Maliksi is very crucial. Bong Quinta is very crucial. Mac Bello did play finally in the series, and he did contribute a little bit. But they have to. I mean, they have to take it to the next level. Their ability to play defense. They have to keep it a low-scoring affair. And their just ability to communicate in the perimeter. Ginebra's moving the ball so well, but they have been forcing turnovers. But it's being able to convert those turnovers. And I think going small is giving them the ability to run this matchup against Aaron Black and LA Tenorio, immediately right off the bat, Aaron started attacking LA's defense, but they need to. It shouldn't just be Aaron, right? That aggressiveness should come from other players as well. And right now, the load is just being shared by a couple of players in Meralco.
I know Chris Banchero is still not 100% with some back spasms still bothering him, but he's, sucking it up and playing in the series. But I think he needs to be more aggressive. We know his aggressiveness on the defensive end, but on the offensively, they need that scoring output. We know Aaron Black's been really huge in this series. Of course, Meralco did put up quite that fight in games 4 and 5. If there are any silver linings para dito sa Meralco, Juan Banal, that they can bring and carry into game 6, ano yun?
Well, it's going to be also their outside shooting. They have completely dominated Ginebra in the paint. Even with Japet Aguilar being back, right now Ginebra is losing to Meralco 52 to 30 in the shaded area. Hey, that's huge, and that's almost close to doubling up. And so obviously Meralco has been attacking the basket. They've been taking high percentage shots, but to break the mold, to do something different, is they have to have that help from the outside as well. Quinto used to make those outside shots frequently. Alain Maliksi, he needs to get his shots up, volume shots. He's getting lesser attempts. I know Aaron Black has been carrying that load from the outside, but the rest of the guys should contribute. And sad to say, that used to be Nards Pinto for them. And he used to be that guy who also makes it from the outside. So Chris Banchero should contribute. There has to be another source of offense for Meralco. They have to fight fire with fire.
Well, if there's one guy Meralco desperately needs right now, I did mention the output of Banchero, but it just may be Alain Maliksi. He hasn't been the same offensively since scoring 22 huge points in Game 1, and they won that game. As we take a look, they won Game 1, Game 3 they did, Game 2 they lost, Games 4 and 5. Yung consistency, makikita natin dito. Yun nga, ito yung numbers niya. 22 in Game 1, wala nung Game 2, 10 nung Game 3, 3 nung Game 4, 12 nung Game 5. I know if there's one thing about Alain Maliksi, he can put up buckets, that's for sure. He can be a scoring machine. He can be a microwave, but that's the thing. Parang diesel, kailangan mong painitin tong Alain. Why do you think Alain Maliksi just can't get going again as we take a look? After that Game 1, wala na yung kumbaga that big push that they need from him.
Well, you have to also give credit to Ginebra. They made the right adjustments.
Right.
They made sure that they spotted where Alain Maliksi is on the floor. Made sure to put a body on him every single time. And Alain had to bleed for his points. And in game 4, he just played 12 minutes, right? He came off the bench, played for 12 minutes, shot 4 attempts. In Game 5, he had 9 attempts, played 27 minutes. He did start in that ball game. So, Alain Maliksi gets his confidence from his shot. And every time he gets to release more attempts, and he's allowed to do that as a second unit, then that builds his confidence. But again, you have to understand that he never has his number. They know where he is, and it frustrates him if he has to work hard for his baskets. So that means the rest of the guys should pick up the slack if ever Alain Maliksi, kasi given that there will be off nights for Alain. We haven't seen him this very much consistent in the series. So that's a given factor. That's a given variable. So if you're Meralco, how do you use that now to your advantage? So the rest of the guys will have to pour in their contribution, I would say.
Yeah, and let's not forget, Coach Tim also knows how this kid plays. He coached him back in the BMEG franchise and San Mig Coffee franchise, and they won championships there. But you're right. I was looking at the highlights, the way they close out, although he makes some of these shots, but the close out, nakadrive siya doon because Arvin was closing out on him on the outside. What else can Meralco get the offense? Where can they still get that offensive output that they usually get from Alain Maliksi? Who else do you want to see be more aggressive on the offensive side of the ball, 1B?
I think with Mac Bello coming into the picture, that's probably going to, because we've noticed that Meralco has been playing small, right? They rarely use now Raymond Almazan. And Chris Banchero had in Game 5 had only 2 points, 1 out of 5 from the field. Raymond Almazan was 3 out of 5, that's 6 points. in that ball game. And then Bonquito had only 2 points. That's 1 out of 5 from the field. Mac Bello had 4 points, 2 out of 4. So these guys usually give you a good 8 to 10 points per ball game, roughly. And if they can get that contribution, this would have been a different ball game. And so just if one player just explode, may it be Mac Bello, may it be Bonquito starting making it from the outside. We know that Chris Banquera is playing injured, so we can't expect much from him. He's really just being that reliever for Aaron Black. But Bonquito, Mac Bello might be those key elements. We don't know. Reynel Ugdatan could also be that X factor. He has that ability to shoot from the outside as well, but he does slow down the ball game for Meralco, who seems to want to quicken the pace and keep running. And I think Aaron Black is the beneficiary of that. But it's game 6. It's a do or die. You have to pull something out of your hat that Ginebra wouldn't expect. Yeah, you have to risk it all.
Okay. Will it be Juan Banal's last time analyzing the Governors Cup finals between Meralco and Ginebra today? Fearless forecast 1B. Will there be a game 7?
For my sake, yes. But with the trajectory of how Ginebra is playing and how I think the revelation is game 5. If Meralco is able to adjust in game, and peak at the right time and make those correct decisions, because he never made the right choices, made the big shots when they needed to make the big shot. It's going to be tough for Meralco to win, but there's just so much fight left in Meralco. I think they can equally share with the catchphrase "Never Say Die." They're just relentless, and you just kind of want to root for them to get that monkey off their back to finally win one over Ginebra. But with how composed Justin Brownlee is and how Scotty Thompson is playing, and we haven't even talked about LA Tenorio and having a big game, and that can explode anytime. So this will be the true test for Meralco. If they win this, they might end up winning. There's a strong chance that they will end up winning the series if they win this game. But if not, then Ginebra has that momentum, and they may close out this series tonight.
Talagang minaximize mo yung time mo. Talagang
Sabi mo, hanggang 10:30 tayo. So we kind of okay. Because I'm not so sure if I'll be back on Friday, so I gotta get more...
Simple lang naman yung tanong ko. Meralco, Ginebra mamayang gabi. Tapos na ba para sa Ginebra? Or babalik ka pa for Game 7 on Friday? Well, before I let you go, 1B, we have to do this, your favorite segment. I hope you answer this question right. Let's find out the answers to our quiz question of the day. The question was, Barangay Ginebra clinched the 2016 PBA Governors Cup crown after Justin Brownlee scored that game-winning 3 in Game 6 of the finals against Meralco, who scored the final basket for the Bolts in that match. One answer lang pala. Tingnan natin. 1B.
Sorry, I don't know. I'll have probably 2 guesses: Alan Durham or probably Chris Thompson. I don't. No idea.
Those are safe bets, but actually I was also surprised. The correct answer is Cliff Hodge. The longtime Meralco big man, he drained 2 free throws to put the Meralco Bolts up by 2 with 35 seconds left on the clock. And then Justin Brownlee drained 5 straight points, including that epic game-winning 3 at the buzzer to seal the deal, give Ginebra the Game 6 victory, and of course, that Governors Cup title. Will that happen again tonight? That remains to be seen. 1B, thank you again, my friend. And if Meralco wins, we'll talk to you on Friday. But if not, thank you. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Andre. See you, everyone.
Again, we just spoke to basketball analyst Juan Banal.